What is going on, guys? The 2020 NFL free agent market isn't lacking in household names, Pro Bowl talents, and future Hall of Famers. This is especially a mega market for quarterbacks and defensive backs, who will command life-changing contracts. Teams will happily open up their checkbooks as they try to shore up championship puzzles in the quick and easy way, through free agency. Here we play the guessing game as we predict where the top 25 free agents of 2020 will land. Number 25, Melvin Gordon, Miami Dolphins. Gordon's decision to hold out cost him dearly, as he endured his most unproductive season yet in 2019. But teams are never afraid to overpay for household names at running back. The rebuilding Dolphins have bundles of cap space to work with, and they really need some playmakers for their quarterback of the future. A 2-year contract for Gordon worth around $15 million is probably fair. A short-term deal would also allow him to reset his market value down the road too. Number 24, Arik Armstead, New York Giants. The G-men ranked a mere 22nd in sacks last season with 36. Marcus Golden, who was responsible for 10 of those, can't do it all on his own. Adding Armstead would shore up an organizational need, while allowing the Giants to focus on other weaknesses at the draft. Armstead is coming off a career year in which he recorded 10 sacks and a pair of forced fumbles. A 4-year deal worth around, 35 to 45 million a year should be enough to land his services here. Number 23, Austin Hooper, Buffalo Bills. John Brown was the lone reliable pass catcher for Josh Allen in 2019. The Bills would go so much further in the playoffs if they could just add 1 or 2 more reliable guys in the passing game to help Allen out. Enter Austin Hooper, who's coming off a career year with the Atlanta Falcons in which he caught 75 passes for 787 yards and 6 touchdowns. Hooper would be the perfect red zone threat for Allen, and he'd probably put up bigger numbers in an enhanced role, rather than serve as a number 3 pass-catching option in Atlanta behind Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. So what's our guess? A 4-year deal worth around 8 to 10 million annually. Number 22, Devin McCourty, New England Patriots. He's been the leader in New England's ever-changing defense for a decade, and McCourty was a backbone in their 3 most recent Super Bowl championships. It wouldn't be a surprise if he tested free agency, but McCourty's age means he's unlikely to receive a major deal. When all is said and done, he'll realize that sticking in New England is best for his career. Bill Belichick loves McCourty, so he won't be afraid to spend some dough to retain him. He'll give the Pro Bowl safety a fair deal to finish out his career in Foxborough. Number 21, Hunter Henry, New York Jets. The Jets have to rebuild the pass-catching game around Sam Darnold, who hasn't shown a whole lot through his first 2 years. Henry has only appeared in 41 games over his first 4 seasons, but he does have 17 touchdown receptions over that span. He would be a nice red zone weapon for the Jets, who could potentially get him on a cheap prove-it deal, and Henry might be keen on resetting his market value anyway. Joining a team that's hoping to take the next step in 2020 could help Henry, who wouldn't see a shortage of opportunities in a Jets offense that lacks playmaking pass catchers. Number 20, Chris Harris Jr., Houston Texans. Houston ranked a mere 19th in scoring defense, and they allowed the 4th most passing yards at 267.3 per game. That's inexcusable and has to change. They can do that by upgrading the secondary. The Texans did nothing to replace the losses of Tyrann Mathieu and Kareem Jackson, who left for greener pastures in free agency a year ago. Harris Jr. is one of the game's elite slot corners, and he changed the entire dynamic of that Denver Broncos secondary for almost a decade. Harris would be the ultimate game changer for a Texans team that's oh so close to competing for Super Bowls. Given his age, Harris won't ask for anything ridiculous. A 3-year deal worth around $30 million seems reasonable for all parties. Number 19, Corey Littleton, Detroit Lions. Now, it's hard to imagine Martha Ford bringing back Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia if the Lions miss the playoffs again in 2020.
Bye, Felicia.
Both will be feeling the heat, and that usually means getting very aggressive in free agency. The Lions' defense was downright horrible in 2019. Adding an athletic, do-it-all linebacker like Corey Littleton would go a long way in fixing that, and his humble personality would fix a locker room that is never lacking in drama. Littleton is the ideal fit for Patricia's defense, and they shouldn't be afraid to overpay for him. A 5-year deal worth around $45 million makes sense here. Number 18, Anthony Harris, Houston Texans. The veteran safety enjoyed quite the breakout year with the Minnesota Vikings, racking up 6 interceptions and 11 passes defended. His reward? Just a life-changing contract worth tens of millions. The cap-strapped Vikings probably can't retain Harris. He'll be heavily sought after in the market, but the Texans are probably the best fit. The Texans reached the AFC divisional round with a horrendous secondary. Adding Harris would change everything on that unit. Perhaps he'd be one of the final pieces in helping Houston go from the winners of an awful division to a legitimate Super Bowl contender. The Texans need to go after bold both Harrises here, Anthony and Chris Jr. Their secondary needs all the help it can get. It's time to make a giant splash in free agency. Number 17, Teddy Bridgewater, Los Angeles Chargers. Lots of options for Bridgewater here. Would he resign with the New Orleans Saints and wait to succeed Breeze? Probably not. Could he sign with a team like the Raiders or Bears to start a quarterback controversy? Don't rule it out. Would the Patriots come scrambling if they don't keep Tom Brady? Certainly a possibility. We'd say the Colts or Buccaneers are the best fits here, but our projections have them going after other quarterbacks. As such, we simply predict that Bridgewater ends up with the Chargers. We wouldn't be shocked if they drafted somebody like Justin Herbert in round 1, but he may not be ready to start right away. Bridgewater would be a safe short-term deal for the Chargers, and he'd make the most of it, with the likes of Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Mike Williams as his playmakers. Given his injury history and the fact that he has only one full starting season under his belt, Bridgewater shouldn't expect a mega 4 or 5-year deal. A 3-year pact with the Chargers is probably the best move here. And hey, if he performs well, LA could always trade away the quarterback they select in the 2020 draft. Number 16, Brandon Scherff, Atlanta Falcons. The 3-time Pro Bowler is about to get paid in the market that only has so many grade A offensive linemen. The market for reliable offensive linemen goes up every year, and Scherff will happily learn this. He's likely to move on from the Washington Redskins, who have a remarkably awful history of not retaining star players while happily overpaying for free agent flops. Matt Ryan was sacked a career-high 48 times in 2019, even though he missed one game. The Falcons' O-line is in shambles, and they have to move quickly to fix that. After drafting 2 offensive linemen in the first round last year, it's unlikely Atlanta would go through the draft to address this issue once again. They're better off paying Scherff, a reliable veteran who can deliver instant results. Number 15, Jameis Winston, Indianapolis Colts. Winston, Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Andy Dalton, Teddy Bridgewater, Phillip Rivers, Marcus Mariota, Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr. My God, there could be a ton of starting quarterbacks on the move in 2020. The Buccaneers may be keen on giving Winston one more last chance, but that's probably not going to happen. There are too many better options for Bruce Arians on the market. Expect Winston to find a new home, and the QB-desperate Colts should come calling. Jacoby Brissett hasn't proven himself capable as a starter. Could Winston be an improvement for the Colts under center? The key here would be for head coach Frank Reich to help Winston cut back on those turnovers. And even if he doesn't, Winston may still have enough talent to help the Colts compete for the AFC South Division crown. He won't break the bank here, but a 3-year deal worth around $20 million a season is fair for both sides. Number 14, Justin Simmons, Denver Broncos. In his 4th season, the former Boston College safety enjoyed a breakout year in the Mile High City. Simmons was a glorious fit in the defense of new head coach Vic Fangio, recording 4 interceptions and 15 passes defended, while earning a second-team All-Pro selection. What do you do when a young defensive player enjoys a breakout season? You pay him, and that's what John Elway will do. It's always tough to project these types of contracts, but just look at how many safeties got overpaid last year. Landon Collins, Eric Weddle, LaMarcus Joyner, blah blah blah, everyone. We'll guess a 4-year deal worth around $10 to $12 million annually for Simmons. There's no way the Broncos can let this guy hit the open market. Number 13, Joe Tunney, Cleveland Browns. If Baker Mayfield wasn't sacked 40 times, maybe he would have avoided the dreaded sophomore slump in 2019. The Browns didn't do anything to patch up their leaky O-line last year, and the unit ranked a mere 23rd by Pro Football Focus for the 2019 regular season. Fortunately for the Browns, they've got lots of cap space to work with, and New England Patriots guard Joe Tunney is slated to hit the open market. The 2019 second-team All-Pro played vital roles in the Patriots' Super Bowl 51 and 53 championship-winning teams. PFF gave him a solid 77.4 grade for the 2019 season as well. He is the perfect fit for a desperate Cleveland team. Money and opportunity both talk, and he'd get it all in Cleveland. Let's project a 5-year, $55 million plus deal for Tunney. Number 12, Byron Jones, Indianapolis Colts. The Colts were in the middle of the pack for scoring defense, and they fielded the 10th worst passing defense in 2019. They're decent enough on that side of the ball, but not great. Still, imagine what the unit could do if they added a dynamic lockdown corner. Fortunately for the Colts, Dallas corner Byron Jones should hit the open market, since the Cowboys will have to pay top dollar to retain other stars, like Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper. Cornerbacks are always overpaid in free agency, but only the Miami Dolphins entered the offseason with more cap space than Indy. Teams with bundles of room like the Finns, Buffalo Bills, and Cowboys are unlikely to engage in a major bidding war for Jones anyway. He's the ideal fit for the Colts. who will also be in the market for a new starting quarterback. Judging by recent marquee cornerback contracts, let's project a 5-year deal worth around $65 to $70 million here for Jones. Number 11, AJ Green, New England Patriots. Bill Belichick knows he's got to do something in the pass catching department if he wants to win another ring with Tom Brady, or whoever lines up behind center in 2020. Julian Edelman can't be the only game-changing receiver here. Belichick has a long history of acquiring veteran wideouts near the end of their primes. Randy Moss, Josh Gordon, Chad Ochocinco, and Antonio Brown, just to name a few. Green, having spent his entire career with a dysfunctional Cincinnati Bengals team, would probably sacrifice a few dollars if it meant competing for a championship in New England. Belichick often succeeds in landing big-name stars on one-year packs. We wouldn't be surprised if he did the same with Green, but a 2-year deal is probably better for both sides. Let's call for something between $12 to $15 million annually. It's a fair price for the aging and oft-injured Green, and for the cap-strapped and wide receiver-desperate Patriots. Number 10, Derrick Henry, Tennessee Titans. Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, David Johnson, Devontae Freeman, those are just some of the big-name running backs that serve as perfect examples as to why teams should never pony up the big bucks on that position. But Derrick Henry should be an exception here for the Titans. There isn't a running back in the league like him. Just look at what he did during the 2019-2020 postseason, when he totaled 446 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, while leading the wildcard Titans all the way to the AFC Championship game. Henry is the ultimate workhorse, and he's as reliable as they come. After getting the Titans to within 1 game of a Super Bowl, there's no way these two sides can break up. Henry will probably get overpaid, and his next contract could be a bad one in a couple of years. But the Titans need to tell themselves that the immediate rewards outweigh the long-term risks. So let's call it a 4-year deal worth close to $60 million for Henry. Number 9, Ryan Tannehill, Tennessee Titans. Maybe Ryan Tannehill won't fully repeat his 2019 success in the Music City, but he did more than enough to earn another contract from Tennessee. And unless Tom Brady or Dak Prescott are super keen on playing for the Titans, GM John Robinson has to play it safe and keep the man he knows he can win with. Tannehill guided the Titans to the AFC Championship game after shocking the defending champion Patriots and the top-seeded Baltimore Ravens in the first 2 rounds. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Hi, I'm Ryan. In my life, it's kind of crazy.
If there's 2 teams that you probably aren't going to win against, it's those 2 teams, and they beat them both. And there was no shame in losing to Patrick Mahomes, because, well, he's Patrick Mahomes and they won the Super Bowl, so they're that good. Tannehill excelled as a game manager in the postseason, and he's proven to be clutch in the big game situations, something money can't always buy. The Titans won't want to break the bank to keep Tannehill, but he probably understands that his contract wishes need to be reasonable, something along the lines of 3 or 4 years at $20 million annually, similar to what Nick Foles signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That should get it done. Number 8, Shaq Barrett, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After spending 5 years with the Denver Broncos, Barrett signed a modest 1-year deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it worked out to perfection for both sides. Barrett broke out big time with 19.5 sacks, which led the NFL, while registering 6 forced fumbles. After what he did for Todd Bowles' defense last season, how could the Bucs let him go? And why would Barrett want to leave? The Buccaneers have more salary cap space to work with than almost any other team, and other clubs may be nervous about paying up big dollars for Barrett, since he could very well be a 1-year wonder. At any rate, it makes the most sense for Barrett to continue his tenure in Tampa, and the Bucs shouldn't let this guy go. A 4-year deal worth around $12 million annually is probably the best bet for the 2 parties here. Number 7, Jadeveon Clowney, Las Vegas Raiders. Despite 3 Pro Bowl selections and 2 seasons of 9+ sacks on his resume, Clowney has never fully lived up to the expectations of being the number 1 overall pick from a stacked 2014 draft class. Now again, he's not bad. The Texans traded Clowney to the Seattle Seahawks before the 2019 campaign, and he finished with a mere 3 sacks and 13 quarterback hits. Clowney did, however, record a career-high 4 forced fumbles. His name and relatively young age will make Clowney one of the most sought-after free agents. Seattle should probably spend their resources elsewhere, but the Las Vegas Raiders are the perfect fit for him. John Gruden and Mike Mayock are building up a nice culture as the Raiders prepare for year 1 in Vegas. They have a plethora of cap space to use, and Gruden really needs a quality pass rusher to build around. Las Vegas will be a hot destination because, well, it's Las Vegas. And let's not forget that Vegas has no state tax. All things considered, a 4 or 5-year deal worth around $50 million makes sense here. Number 6, Yannick Ngakoue, New York Jets. He has recorded no less than 8 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. He's young and only entering his prime. The New York Jets could use another pass rusher after giving up Leonard Williams. Rookie Quinnen Williams didn't perform as expected in 2019. The Jets need to give him some support, and throwing Ngakoue on Greg Williams' defense could change everything about this unit. The Jets love paying top dollar in free agency. They'll happily do it with Ngakoue by giving him a mega deal worth around $15 million annually. Number 5, Amari Cooper, Dallas Cowboys. Dallas has some big decisions this offseason regarding who they should pay and who they shouldn't. But the Cowboys paid a premium to land Cooper from the Raiders, and they're not going to let him walk after 2 phenomenal years in Big D. Cooper is just as vital to their long-term success as Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. The young wideout has emphasized his desire to stay in Dallas. Quite frankly, there's no reason for him to not stay. This should be a fairly smooth discussion as they hammer out a new long-term deal. Something in the 5-year range worth $70 to $80 million makes sense. And if that doesn't work out, there's always the franchise tag option. Number 4, Phillip Rivers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Rivers moved his family to Florida following his final season with the Los Angeles Chargers in 2019. We don't see the Miami Dolphins or Jaguars as a fit for Rivers. Bruce Arians got 33 touchdowns and 5,109 passing yards out of the mistake-prone Jameis Winston in 2019. Imagine what he could do with a perennial Pro Bowler and future Hall of Famer leading the offense. Rivers would have 2 dynamic wideouts to work with in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. He has the proven leadership skills and experience to help this young rebuilding team reach the next level. Better yet for the Bucs, Rivers won't command a ridiculous contract, since he probably has 2 years left in his career, at most. He'd be cheaper and better than Winston and many other quarterbacks on the market. This, quite frankly, is a match made in heaven. Oh, and we'd also see Rivers duke it out with Drew Brees twice a year. So how fun would that be, given the history together with the Chargers? Number 3, Chris Jones, Miami Dolphins. The Chiefs would love to keep their franchise pass rusher, who was arguably the best player on the field in their Super Bowl 54 victory over the 49ers. But with Mahomes in need of a massive payday, the Chiefs will have to make a tough decision. Jones has recorded 24.5 sacks over the last 2 years. He's going to get close to $90+ million on his next deal, and that will prove to be too rich for Casey's liking. The Miami Dolphins are the perfect fit for Jones. They have bundles of cap space and can easily outbid just about everyone else. And the non-state tax works in their favor here. Brian Flores has quickly built a fun and exciting culture in Miami, and Miami proves to be a hot free agent destination. Something close to $100 million over 6 years seems reasonable. Number 2, Tom Brady, New England Patriots. We've heard all the rumors and reports of TB12 getting fed up with Bill Belichick and wanting to go elsewhere. But at the end of the day, it makes all the sense in the world for Brady to finish his career in Foxborough. Jarrett Stidham simply isn't ready for prime time yet. At least we don't think so. The Pats, in an ideal scenario, would keep Brady on a 1 or 2 year deal while buying more time to develop Stidham, or whoever else they deem to be their quarterback of the future. Brady's play declined in 2019, but 2018 Brady shined in the game manager role as his Patriots cruised to a 6th Super Bowl championship. Adding a few more weapons would help Brady big time. He's still good enough to win them a championship, so why pay more money for a less established and less clutch quarterback? When all is said and done, look for Brady and the Pats to hammer out a 1 or 2 year deal with a nice pay raise. Number 1, Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. At the end of the day, the Cowboys simply have to pay whatever it takes to keep Prescott. He's not going to find a team with an elite offensive line and a top 3 running back. He's not going to find a team with a dynamic pass-catching duo like Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup. Oh, and how many teams will actually offer Dak more money than Jerry Jones? Whether it's $30 million, $35 million, or $40 million, this marriage is going to stay intact. Prescott is good enough to lead Dallas to a Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy will make the most of his talents. Jones will eventually give in and do whatever it takes to keep his star quarterback. It's fun to envision scenarios where Prescott would leave, while Jones makes a play for someone like Tom Brady or Phillip Rivers. But spoiler alert, none of that is happening. Where do you think these top free agents of 2020 will land? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. TikTok is dope. Go follow me, yo, what up? Anyway, yeah, go follow us on social media. Like this video because you should like it and really help us out. Subscribe to TPS because we post videos every single day. Every day's a new video. Subscribe, you know, the whole button, red button down there. Just click a bunch of buttons down below and see what happens. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.